The 55 murders in Stockton last year were the most since 2012.
The city of Sacramento signing on to a pilot program called Advanced Peace.
It aims to prevent shootings by training the 50 community members identified as most at risk for committing gun violence,
targeting young men behind gun violence and offering an opportunity.
It's important to understand that a serial shooter becomes a serial shooter because less than 30% in most urban communities are ever prosecuted for their gun crimes.
So I have done a little of my own research on Advanced Peace, and I think that the theory of Advanced Peace is probably a very positive one. I just don't know that Fresno should be ready to commit financially to that. I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered.
You can't ask us to reduce gun violence without allocating money towards that effort.
I am philosophically opposed to providing money to any gang member unless it's for work that they are completing. I am adamantly opposed to any tax dollars going towards gang members.
I'm optimistic about your comments, but I'm a little more disappointed. You're not even in office yet. You're ready to flip-flop on us.
I haven't flip-flopped, Nelson. The devil's in the detail. I've never supported giving money to a gang member.
I'm not paying criminals to stop shooting, although that's what the media would have you think. If you've seen any of the media representing our work over the last couple of years. In fact, we never asked them to stop shooting. In fact, we never asked them to put their guns down. Why not? Don't want to come off as uncredible. They live in gun zones. They live in war zones. It's a rational idea to carry a gun.
That's the issue that I face. And I've also told them I would not support any public dollars, tax dollars, to be paid to gang members. Now, if it's for administration oversee a program, we do that today with Maggie Navarro, who oversees our gang prevention initiative.
Richmond said, let's create this agency, non-law enforcement, one specific goal: reduce firearm assaults and associated injury and death. To address gun violence, not gang violence, we began by hiring a neighborhood safety director who understands a little bit about that work. It would be responsible for connecting with those at the heart of gun hostilities in our communities. Generational gun hostilities. Young men and women who are directly engaged in firearm activity because they did it over there. And they grow up believing that it is my responsibility to bring justice to the enemy. We got excited when bin Laden was brought to justice. And if you remember the night that happened and what happened in front of the White House, scores of people were out there cheering. Why? We brought him to justice. I want you to understand the mindset of a young man growing up in urban America about justice.
I have spoken to some other law enforcement officials up in Stockton and Sacramento, and they have not seen the results that they had hoped for with some of the programming with Advanced Peace. I think we need to ask Advanced Peace a lot of questions before we take $200,000 of municipal and city money and put it into their program. I think that we deserve to have that data. It is up and running in a couple of other jurisdictions, and I think that those jurisdictions are very similar to Fresno. They have similar demographics. They have similar challenges with gangs and guns. And if it's not working there, then I think we should take pause before we start to invest in it here.
I think it is a great moral hazard danger that if we give money to gang members, that higher level people in the gang will simply take it from them. Instead, what will probably happen is that it will just fund the gangs with taxpayer or nonprofit donations.
What do you think about programs like Advanced Peace and are there similar programs? Should the city engage in these alternate programs to help reduce violence?
I'm not going to support taxpayer dollars to pay gang members.
Yes, I want to hire ex-felons. I want that to be a minimum qualification on the city government application. And another minimum qualification must be they have to have a firearm crime in their background. And you want them to be city employees? Absolutely. Full-time, well-paid city employees. And that translates to trust on the street as it relates to engaging this population and better appreciating and understanding why they shoot and what's going to be required for them not to shoot.
There are a lot of questions to ask. Are the people who participate in it, what if they commit a crime? Is Advance Peace gonna give us information about that, or are they gonna hold that confidential? How do we get around the issue of it being a gift of public funds? If we know that the city is going to be giving money to this nonprofit, who then in turn is going to be giving it to the people who participate in Advance Peace, how do we know that they're not going to be buying guns or drugs with it? How do we know that they're not going to be using that money for illicit purposes as opposed to rent or education? And so I think handing cash over to anybody is always something that has to be looked at with some serious scrutiny.
One, I'm going to make sure that they have access to multiple contacts every single day. Two, I'm going to sit down with each of these fellows and create a life map with SMART goals. They don't have to say yes to this. Three, we're going to connect you to every social service opportunity out there. So what we do is we offer them a cash stipend, a monetary stipend. After 6 months of their engagement, they become eligible for a stipend of up to $1,000 a month for 9 of the remaining 12 months of their fellowship. They're typically earning, for those who become eligible, between $350 and $1,000 a month. Small price for helping us, being a part of the conversation and contributing to reducing gun crimes in our city. $9,000 over 18 months versus $400,000 every time a young man is shot.
I don't have any problem with programming that is set forth to encourage people to do better by their life. But I don't think that you should gift people money. That should be the bottom, where we start off with an understanding that you're not going to commit crime. Now, if you've been someone who's been involved in criminal activity and you've had a hard life and you have issues where you can't maybe get to school or get some job training, then I'm all for that.